Hey everyone, you know who this is by now. Today we're taking a dive into the missing link between the Enlightened One and the Anointed One. Roll credits. We've covered some interesting links between different religions in the previous videos and seasons, so before we go to the next, we must end with an incredible finale. A question that I pondered for a long time is, where is Buddha in the Bible? We know there's a connection between Moses and Adam, and so technically there should be a connection to Buddha, but most people are unaware of the royal lineage of the empire and thus miss out on a small crucial detail: the cultural differences in retelling the same story over and over. Today, we're going to find Buddha in the Old Testament and put an end to the old Hindu denomination of ultra kalki and bullshit watered down anti-Gnostic standard Christianity, or whatever the Mormons think is the current updated version of it. Hold on to your seats and prepare to have your mind blown. We've already dug into the Genesis and Brahma connection, humanity's repeated rebellions against Vishnu and Yahweh, how Enoch was Thoth who wrote the Puranas, which later got reinterpreted into the Old Testament, so this should be a walk in the park. Adam and Eve, they weren't just biblical figures, they are Adama and Havyavati, maybe Svayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. Noah, he is Nua or Vaivasvata Manu, and his sons, Shem, Ham, Yafeth, line up with Ikshvaku of the solar dynasty and Aila, founder of the lunar dynasty, becoming the progenitors of India's great royal lineages. Noah is the son of Vivasvan, the sun god, who is the son of Kashyapa, an ancient and powerful rishi. Kashyapa is the son of Marichi, and Marichi is the son of Brahma, the same creative force as Yahweh and Vishnu. Here's the key difference. In Abrahamic scripture, history is linear. In Hinduism, time is cyclical, divided into yugas, eras of humanity. Noah is the seventh Manu. Svayambhuva was the first of the 14 Manus. Then we have Enoch, successor to Jared, Mahalalel, Kainan, Enos, Seth, Adam, and Yahweh or Vishnu. But Enoch is also Thoth, Vyasa, Metatron, Hermes, and maybe Noah too, same person appearing multiple times. In Hinduism, he's Hanucha, the devoted servant of Vishnu, credited with writing the Book of Enoch, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, the Emerald Tablets, and the Hermetica, the divine scribe across civilizations. Noah gets a warning to build the ark before the flood, and as we cross into Egyptian mythology, the story begins to change. Ra, the sun god, grows old. Humanity plots against him. Enraged, he sends his eye to earth, goddess Hathor, who transforms into Sekhmet, a lioness of fury. She slaughters humanity, wading through rivers of blood. But Ra did not intend to destroy all life. To save the remaining humans, Ra orders 7,000 jars of beer dyed red with ochre to look like blood. Sekhmet drinks it, thinking it's blood, becomes drunk, and falls asleep. No warning, no ark, just divine improvisation. In the Greek-Egyptian Hermetic tradition, Hermes, syncretized with Thoth, is the god of wisdom. He knows the world faces periodic destruction, sometimes by fire, sometimes by water. His role, not building an ark, but preserving divine knowledge so it survives humanity's cycles of destruction. In the Greek-Egyptian Hermetic tradition, Hermes, syncretized with Thoth, is the god of wisdom. He knows the world faces periodic destruction, sometimes by fire, sometimes by water. His role, not building an ark, but preserving divine knowledge so it survives humanity's cycles of destruction. Enoch receives divine knowledge before the flood. Noah preserves it through the flood. In Hinduism, Noah, Vaivasvata Manu, is saved from the great deluge, Pralaya by Vishnu's Matsya avatar, the fish incarnation. Noah's descendants spread the divine seed. Ikshvaku, the solar dynasty that Lord Rama would descend from, Ila and Pururavas, founder of the lunar dynasty, leading to Krishna, the Pandavas, and Kauravas. Pururavas is the first monarch, the Chakravarti. King David, or Yayati, later unifies Israel. He is Pururava's grandson, and he split the lunar dynasty into Yadu and Puru, Krishna's line, and the Pauravas, Kauravas. Bhagirata and Bharata mirror David in securing Jerusalem, the kings and conquerors maintaining cosmic order. Just like Ra retreats to the heavens after the flood, Vishnu withdraws to his cosmic abode. The Egyptian story, a literal flood of blood. In the book of Enoch, the Nephilim, offspring of the Watchers, consume humanity. In Hinduism, the Nephilim are the Daityas or Rakshasas, the demonic beings. Thoth, or Enoch, records their deeds. The Watchers supply destructive knowledge. The planetary deities, the Dikpalas, are cosmic jailers. Children of Ra or Manu become pharaohs, kings, and emperors. Brahma becomes Atum. Vishnu becomes Ra or Amun. In the Old Testament and Canaanite faith, El is Brahma, Baal is Indra or Shiva, Asherah is Shakti. The Elohim, a divine council, mirrors the Hindu, Egyptian, and Greek pantheons. The chosen people, they are the Dvija, the twice born, the lineage of Noah or Manu. Vyasa's disciples are the law-bearers. The splintered nations becomes the sons of Yayati, the line of David. In Egypt, the Israelites are the Apiru or Habiru, nomads, mercenaries, and laborers. If Thoth or Enoch is the progenitor of prophetic wisdom, the Israelites are simply the chosen branch guiding humanity, the people of the written word, the domain of Thoth. Yahweh, Brahma, Atum, same archetype. Adam and Eve, the first humans of Atum Ra, the Garden of Eden, the Satya Yuga, the Golden Age, or Ra's earthly rule. After Noah's covenant, the Vedas and Dharma are re-established by Manu and the sages. Pharaohs acts as Ra's representatives on earth to enforce Ma'at, cosmic order. King David established the messianic line, unifies the kingdom. Yayati splits the lunar line. Pharaohs and Baal maintain dominion, but the covenant continues, the law survives, and the cycle of knowledge preservation repeats. Now, if Enoch, Thoth, and Noah are the divine scribes preserving knowledge, it makes sense that this same archetype appears across other cultures. Take Greek mythology, Hermes Trismegistus, again. He escapes the great flood in an ark, carrying with him the emerald tablet. Sounds familiar? That's the same story as Enoch, Thoth, Noah. Divine scribes, keepers of knowledge, crossing civilizations. But the story doesn't end there. Let's look at other European mythologies of that time. In Old Norse myths, the collision of fire and ice creates the first giant Ymir and the primeval cow Athumbla. Odin, Vili, and Ve, the Norse Trimurti, kill Ymir and build the cosmos from his body. Sounds familiar? It mirrors Brahma and Ra establishing order from Nun. The Jötnar, the frost giants, are forces of chaos, much like the Nephilim in the Bible or Daityas in Hinduism. The blood of Ymir floods the world, drowning the frost giants except for Bergelmir, who escapes on a boat made from hollowed tree trunks. There's our flood story again. Odin, he becomes a combination of Yahweh, Ra, Vishnu, and the scribes like Enoch and Thoth, a god who preserves knowledge and order through catastrophe. And then there is Ragnarök, the final war. Loki, Fenrir, the Jötnar rise against the gods, mirroring the Mahabharata wars or the final prophetic battles leading to the second coming. Fire and water consume the world, and a new generation rises from the sea. Two human survivors, Lif and Liftrazir, repopulate the world. Sounds familiar? Old Testament, Hindu Pralaya, Satya Yuga, the cycle continues. Celtic mythology offers similar stories. The Tuatha De Danann, the divine tribe, are advanced beings carrying magical treasures akin to the Watchers. They battle the Fomorians, giants like the Nephilim. The battle at Magturid established their dominion, just as David or the Pandavas did. Lug, or Tuatha, can be seen as the archetype of Thoth, while Queen Scotia could represent Nefertiti, fleeing Egypt after the Great Flood and establishing Ireland, foundations for the British Isles, and eventually North and South America. Then, look at Nova Scotia in Canada, which literally means New Scotland. Greek myths reflect the same cycle. Prometheus is both Lucifer and Christ, Horus, Thoth, Krishna, and Hercules. Deucalion survives the flood, carrying the covenant forward. Across Norse, Gaelic, Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Enochian, and Old Testament stories, the survivors uphold divine knowledge. They are, in essence, the tribe of Israel, carriers of the covenant, no matter the name or culture. We've had multiple resets, multiple floods, and shifts in power, yet the story repeats. The fall of the Roman Empire is another cataclysm. The plague kills 50 million. Power shifts. Every religion claims the one true path, but beneath the surface, they all preserve variations of the Hindu and Buddhistic Dharma principles, teaching ethics, balance, and liberation in their own language. And this naturally leads to the next question on our journey. If these archetypes appear across every major civilization, where do the Buddha fit into all of this? Now, let's ask the question that ties all of this together. Where is Buddha in the Bible? If we strip away the names, if we look past the labels and compare the stories, something incredible emerges. Buddha isn't just a figure in India, he's encoded in the very lines of the Bible. And the key? Look at two figures, King David and his son, King Solomon. David, or Yayati in the Hindu line, comes from the solar dynasty. Solomon, his son, becomes the embodiment of wisdom, the builder of the temple, the thinker, the philosopher, the teacher. Buddha fits right here. He is the non-warrior son, the prophet of knowledge, the spiritual redeemer, just as Christ is the fulfillment of the Davidic line's messianic promise. See the pattern? Buddha, as the wisdom giver, mirrors Solomon. He mirrors Prometheus, Thoth, Lucifer, Christ, Krishna, Horus, all archetypes of the Enlightened One returning to the world to teach. Moses, meanwhile, leads people out of the physical bondage. Buddha leads people out of the spiritual bondage. And if they all descend from Vaivasvata Manu, or Noah, then they are all family. They are part of the same tribe, the same lineage, carrying the knowledge of Enoch and Thoth. Think about it. Isho, Buddha, Krishna, Thoth, these aren't separate figures. They are avatars, fully liberated beings who return to the prison of the world, the samsara, the earthly hell, to show others the way out through gnosis, dharma, and the gospel. Noah's descendants, Deucalion survivors, the nomads carrying the covenant, they touch down in Egypt, Ireland, Mesopotamia, Greece, and beyond. They become the foundation of every civilization, every people, every tradition that carries sacred knowledge. Jews, just one branch. Tuatha De Danann, another. Indo-Aryans, Egyptians, Christians, Romani, Solar dynasty of Buddha and Solomon, they all share the same ancestral covenant. Everyone is, in a way, a part of Israel, a keeper of the law, a guardian of the divine story. Buddha, Solomon, is the non-warrior, the sage, the wise king's son, leaving the palace to seek truth. Isaiah, Isho, Christ, all echo the same journey. Studying in Egypt, in the Himalayas, learning from the yogis and sages. Greek myths reflect the same idea. Hercules perfecting himself to transcend the human, Apollo bringing order and insight after chaos. In Egypt, Buddha parallels with Osiris. Is he the ultimate sage? Another Thoth archetype? Osiris is the dying and resurrected god who teaches moral law and ascends as lord of the afterlife, final nirvana. Buddha dies to his worldly self through enlightenment and is reborn as an awakened being. Osiris is an archetype of the just divine ruler who brings civilization and order. Buddha is the Chakravartin, the universal monarch who rules by Dharma, not the sword. Both kingships derive from divine wisdom, not earthly conquest. Osiris is depicted with green skin, a symbol for regeneration, the eternal soul, nature, and love. Buddha sits beneath the Bodhi fig tree, surrounded by green nature, symbolizing rebirth and enlightenment. In alchemy, the color expresses the emerald principle, life transcending death. The lotus and papyrus from Buddha's seat and Osiris' throne both symbolize emergence from the primordial waters, Nun or Shunyata. Both rise from the waters of chaos into divine awareness. Osiris judges souls by the feather of Ma'at, weighing the heart against it in balance, truth, and moral purity. Buddha teaches the Eightfold Path, balance, truth, and moral purity. By overlapping Egyptian, Hindu, and Old Testament references, we find out that Osiris is son of Geb, the earth god, ruler, and Nut, the sky goddess. Solomon's father is King David, and his mother is Bathsheba. David, or Yayati, his father is Nahusha. If we compare Nahusha with David's father Jesse, we find that both serve as root patriarchs for divinely sanctioned royal lineages. Each lineage produced a sage king archetype: Solomon, Buddha, Krishna. Nahusha's rise and fall echo the later moral tests of David and Solomon: lust, pride, and the tension between divine favor and human flaws. Both give birth to the continuity of the solar and lunar dynasties. When we compare David, Bathsheba, with Geb and Nut, we see more similarities. Ra forbade Nut and Geb's union, adultery forbidden by Mosaic law. Both conceived a divine child, followed by Ra's curse, Set's betrayal of Osiris, and Uriah's death. Osiris brings resurrection and order. Solomon restores divine favor with the feminine archetype of celestial mother, cosmic womb, human mother, and vessel of divine lineage. Moses receives the law on the mountain, exoteric. Buddha achieves enlightenment under the tree, esoteric. Both leave their kingdoms, journey to the wilderness, face the adversary, and return to teach. Elijah, John the Baptist, Christ's fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, it's the same story, echoed in every civilization. The parallels continue. Zeus becomes Indra or Vishnu, and Yahweh, El or Elyon in the Old Testament. Solomon's son, Rehoboam, misrules and splits the kingdom, echoing Yayati's sons, Yadu and Peru, splitting the lunar dynasty into feuding lines. Every empire that conquered their neighbors took their religion and changed it slightly, where old characters and names were replaced with new characters, but they were still the same. And Moses, he functions like the Manus, like Vaivasvata Manu, the chief lawgiver, writing the laws, guiding the people, ancestor of the Levites, priests of Israel. In Hinduism, that would be the Saptarishis, the seven sages, the lineage of Brigu or Angiras. Here's the big takeaway. Buddha, Christ, Solomon, they reject worldly kingdoms. They reject ego-driven rule. They confront the adversary. Buddha defeats Mara. Christ defeats Satan. David defeats Goliath. Solomon defeats vanity. Moses confronts the Pharaoh, Set or king. It's the same hero's journey, retold in different eras, across cultures, across time. The story isn't separate. Buddha is in the Bible. He's encoded in the wisdom of Solomon, in the spiritual rebellion against oppression, in the pursuit of liberation. And understanding this, you begin to see the lineage, the royal line of Gnosis, threading through humanity, from Noah to the Manus, from David to Solomon, from Krishna to Buddha to Christ, always preserving knowledge, always guiding humanity towards enlightenment. If we compare the Hindu Nahusha, Yayati, lunar kings, and Buddha, then it mirrors Jesse, David, Solomon, and Christ. Nut mirrors Bathsheba. Both embody the archetype of divine lineage emerging from moral paradox, where human sin or cosmic defiance births divine wisdom. Here's a bonus wild card. If Christ is not the descendant of Nathan, another son of David in the lunar dynasty, then it's possible with all the wives and concubines Solomon had that he is descendant through him, depending on if you use Matthew's or Luke's gospel. The Key of Solomon and other Solomonic texts describe him as commanding demons and using seals of power, traits of a semi-divine ruler. Not just a wise king, but a magus king, one who communed with angels and spirits, the Elohim. If he had 700 plus 300 wives and concubines, we can roughly estimate anything from 100 to 300 children. This would easily be considered God level. Plus, the name Solomon means peace, while Buddha is the awakened one who attains inner peace. Solomon may very well have been an Elohim-level king, which makes him a god among gods, a judge, a ruler, and divine majesty. If we build this family tree by overlapping mythologies, we get a couple of candidates for the lost father of Isho Nasraya Bar Yosef Bar Mariam. It is possible that Yayati is his father, but that would be David himself. Puru, son of Yayati, as a younger son, his line may be less honored, like a bastard or secondary branch. It could be a lesser-known illegitimate son of Solomon, but when we look at Osiris, father of Horus, we find a new incarnation of the same solar royal archetype, the same hero's journey. Christ mirrors Moses' era, where the Pharaoh ordered that every male Hebrew infant be killed because they were multiplying too fast. Isho's family had to escape Herod the Great, ruler of Judea under Rome, who ordered all male infants under 2 years of age to be killed. These stories are similar, but the flight into Egypt closes the karmic cycle that began when Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt. In some Egyptian Horus-Set myths, Set tries to slay the infant Horus. The goddess Isis hides Horus in the marshes of the Nile to protect him. Horus grows up in secret, returns as an adult, and defeats Set. When we compare the Bhagavata Purana and the Mahabharata, this is where we find King Kamsa, tyrant of Mathura. A divine voice told Kamsa that the 8th son of his sister Devaki would kill him. Kamsa imprisoned Devaki and killed her first 6 sons. The 7th child, Balarama, was mystically transferred to another womb, the 8th, Krishna, who was miraculously born and smuggled away to Gokula. Sounds familiar? Isho the Christ, Moses, Krishna, Horus, Mithras, Buddha, Hercules, Dionysus, Thor, and Kalki, Son of God, Son of the Utmost High, Son of the Divine, Son of the King, Son of the Ruler, Son of Peace. One consciousness, one archetype, many names, one persona. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. He was real, just like his father, an avatar of the divine, the Spirit of God, a child of God, like the prophets before him, a carrier of the Dharma laws from his father or grandfather, the kingdom of earth. When you read these stories of the past, it is your story, it is your previous footsteps, so you can walk them again in light and wisdom. Just look in the mirror and you will see the Christ. Now we come to the Empire, the force that twists and reshapes the divine story for its own control. The snake in the garden? That's the ever-shifting, shape-shifting royal line of power. The same story told in different cultures, different pantheons, different names. From India to Mesopotamia, Egypt to Ireland, the British Empire, Rome, Greece, North America, even into parts of Asia and Africa, the story repeats. The Watchers did not disappear. The Nephilim didn't vanish, they became humans, demigods, kings, and rulers. They absorbed into medieval royal lineages, hiding their symbols in plain sight. Pyramids, eagles, sacred geometry, the echoes of a long-forgotten power. Look closer. The red thread is undeniable. The Archon Empire before 9000 BC opposed Thoth and Vyasa. The Watchers opposed Noah and Manu. Pharaohs opposed David and Ikshvaku. Moses opposed the empire of his time. Rehoboam's empire opposed David and Solomon. Caesar opposed Mary Magdalene and the Gnostics. Constantine and the papal succession opposed the enlightened sages. History is one long chess game of empires versus enlightenment. Today we call them the Illuminati, the globalists, the Holy Roman Merovingian New World Empire, the Deep State, the Hidden Hand. Some say reptilians, Bilderbergers, BlackRock, CFR, the IMF, central banks, the UN, CETO, NATO, all the same. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a repeating pattern. These are the descendants of the giants, the enforcers of control, the rulers who dine on power and poison, hiding their covenant in plain sight. But here's the thing. Law, Dharma, and knowledge are the keys. They can expose the empire's corruption, liberate humanity, and reveal the truth behind the illusion. And what does the empire do? They twist the wisdom of the sages, pervert the teachings of Christ and Buddha, dilute them for control, turn divine knowledge into a tool to divide and enslave. Religion becomes the ultimate distraction, the Disney and Studio Ghibli of spiritual stories, while humanity argues over which story is true. Napoleon said it plainly. Religion is excellent stuff for keeping common people quiet. Religion is what keeps the poor from murdering the rich. Before democracy, Europe paid taxes to the church, which was maintained by the empire. They hijacked Dharma teachings from Christ and Buddha, turning salvation into a transaction, indulgences, while clergy and nobility indulged freely. Father, today I ran over a child with my carriage. Don't worry, son. $500, 3 Hail Marys, and God will forgive you. Here's a receipt. Even today, monarchs exist above the law. Kings can speed like police, cannot be arrested, and are exempt from taxes. They sit at the top of the pecking order, legally untouchable. Historical rumors of the royals practicing corpse medicine, blood drinking, and flesh eating are more than superstition. They reflect a culture of secretive power and ritual dominance. The empire is the same today. The beast system persists in governments, financial institutions, and global organizations. They create conflict, enforce hierarchy, and manipulate the masses. They are the architects of war and genocide, the ones who have always sought to suppress knowledge, divide humanity, and ensure compliance. By not studying history, by ignoring scripture and past wisdom, we fall into the same traps again. The ruling elite sees us as expendable, pawns in their game. They control the population, extend lifespans selectively, and poison health systems for profit. They manufacture crises, then sell the solutions. COVID-19, mandatory injections, digital IDs, and the cashless system, all part of the same Hegelian dialect. Problem, reaction, solution for their gain. Medicine, energy, and environmental solutions are manipulated the same way. Technologies that could benefit humanity are suppressed while the masses consume distractions and false solutions. Electric cars, green energy, LED lights presented as progress, but often the opposite, enriching the few while harming the many. We've all switched to energy-saving lamps, but we are paying a higher price for electricity now. It was all a scam. And just like with religion, we must scrutinize science and academia. The scientific establishment, the mainstream model of history and evolution, has become a political system of control. Money speaks louder than truth, and authority masquerades as fact. The empire hasn't disappeared, it's evolved. It wears a new mask, but the goal remains: control, profit, and obedience. Look around. We cheer for the rebels in movies, but in real life, we often enforce the empire. Even the criminals of society have ethics. The empire has none. On the 4th of May, the Star Wars Day, there was a sign telling citizens to report rebel activity to the police, literally acknowledging themselves as the empire, which shows how deeply embedded this is. Don't be a rebel to truth, the universe, or yourself. Find the truth, live in it. The empire thrives in darkness, secrecy, and ignorance. By not exposing corruption, by not challenging deception, we allow it to tighten its grip. To them, we are expendable numbers, dust, and they will never fight our wars, protect our families, or honor our lives. The kings, the emperors, the governments, they have never been our friends. They are the same force we've been fighting since the beginning of time. It's time to wake up. It's time to see the empire for what it is and reclaim knowledge, law, and wisdom that belongs to humanity. Now we dive into the rise and fall of the Sumerian, Akkadian, Elamite, Indus, and the Egyptian Empire, a story of power, symbols, and the repeating patterns of control. From the Solar Dynasty, the Surya Vamsa, to Egypt, from Ireland to the British Empire, there is a single symbol that echoes through all these conquests: the eagle. It appears in Sumerian, Babylonian, Persian, Roman, Egyptian iconography, always representing the highest coercive power. Today, we still see it in the flags of the USA, Russia, Germany, Mexico, Austria, Poland, and others. Combined with the Iron Cross, a remnant of the pyramid cut into sections, the symbol persists. The Nazis, the Templars, royal fraternities, all using the same emblems. Every time humanity faces corruption, exploitation, and social stratification, a savior or reformer arises. In Hinduism, it was Buddha stopping the caste wars. In Rome, Christ brought the spiritual revolution. Before them, it was Moses against Pharaoh, Noah against the demiurge, Enoch against the giants. At the end of the German Empire, Bavaria gave us Hitler, a terrifying example of controlled opposition repeated through time. In the modern era, as governments expand surveillance, control finances, and exploit the environment, new movements like decentralized autonomous organizations fight to preserve human knowledge digitally. Cryptocurrencies challenge central banking, offering a glimpse of freedom from the empire's economic chains. Religion itself was politics before politics even existed. Today, politics functions like a new religion. Priests, sages, celebrities shaping perception, while lamestream media casts spell through screens, manipulating thought and emotion in the TV, Tel Aviv vision. Many believe the adversary, the Pharaohs, Saturn, Satan, Mara, or the devil, has already been defeated by Christ, so they do not need to do the spiritual work themselves. But that's exactly what the empire wants you to believe, that your fight is over and obedience is enough. The kings were never our friends. The empire was never our friend. Governments today are extensions of that same beast system that has ruled Earth since the beginning. They manufacture war and genocide, while the rest of us die fighting for their interests. By ignoring history and scripture, humanity walks blindly into repeating disasters. The ruling elite sees us as expendable, as numbers, as dust. They manipulate morality, family structures, and reproduction to serve their agenda, lifting restrictions when population decline is needed, enforcing norms when growth is required. Medicine, longevity, and technology are all controlled. Drugs prolong life but poison the body over time. Breakthrough cures are bought and hidden. Profits dictate the fate of the sick. The pharmaceutical system itself, derived from the Greek pharmakeia, meaning witchcraft or sorcery, is a modern echo of the old empire's control. The environment, energy, and climate narratives are manipulated similarly. Carbon dioxide isn't the enemy. The green energy initiatives funnels money into elite hands while displacing real solutions. Electric cars, lithium mining, solar panels, wind turbines, all marketed as progress, but often creating more harm than good. Solutions that truly benefit humanity, like converting waste plastic into fuel, are suppressed while profiteers exploit the problems. Shout out to Julian Brown from the YouTube channel @NatureJab. And just like religion and politics, science and academia are tools of control. The standard model, evolution, history, economics, all too often dictated by profit and authority, not truth. We cheer for heroes in fiction while bending to the empire in real life. Even criminals have codes of honor. The empire has none. Wake up. See the repeating patterns. See the symbols. Understand the lessons of the past. Because the rise and fall of empires is not random. It's cyclical. It's deliberate. The Egyptian empire fell, but its legacy, its symbols, and its control mechanisms continue. The lessons of Ra, Pharaoh, the Solar Dynasty, and the Watchers are still here if we are willing to see them. History is not just a story, it is a mirror showing us the empire's enduring strategy: control knowledge, control people, and recycle the same power across ages. To awaken is to recognize the pattern and reclaim sovereignty over mind, body, and spirit. If Noah, Manu, Enoch, and Thoth are the same archetype across cultures, and their knowledge was carried through Buddha, Krishna, Christ, and Solomon, then what does it mean for the concept of chosen people? Are we all, in fact, the inheritors of the same covenant, and the divisions we fight over merely stories designed to fragment humanity? If the rise and fall of empires Egyptian, Roman, British, American, is guided by recurring patterns, symbols, and hidden royal bloodlines, then how much of history is truly ours, and how much has been scripted by the invisible empire, recycling its power over and over? If religion, politics, science, and economics are all tools to shape perception, control knowledge, and enforce obedience, then what is real? And more importantly, what part of reality are we still blind to because the empire wants it hidden? If Buddha, Christ, and Solomon were all descendants of the same royal Manu lineage, all returning to teach humanity how to escape the cycle of bondage, then are the adversaries they fought, Pharaohs, Watchers, Satan, the Demiurge, still present today, hiding in plain sight? And finally, if we've been given the same story across Hinduism, Egyptian, Greek, Norse, Celtic, and Abrahamic traditions, all pointing to the same archetypes and hidden knowledge, then what does it mean when you realize that the kingdom is not somewhere above, but all around you and within you? Truth can often be stranger than any fiction. The topics we've covered and questions explored and the wonder they stir are just threads in a much larger infinite tapestry. Take what resonates with you, explore the unknown, and never stop questioning the answers you've been given. Subscribe if you wish to journey further down the spiral into the forgotten, the forbidden, and the transformative. Together, we can seek wisdom that reaches beyond the perceived boundaries of belief. This has been the final episode of the Season 3 finale. We will be back again shortly with Season 4, where we take a deep dive into many interesting and provoking topics. It's been quite busy here, so that's why this video has taken some time to make. Here's to hoping that you've had an excellent and fruitful summer as we move into the next season, both chronologically and literally. Until then, stay safe and may God bless you in utmost abundance.